Hi everyone, this is Ashutosh back again. Today we will be exploring one very famous question: what is cache and persist in Spark? Alright, so before explaining that, let's take an example. Let's say you have an RDD, okay? You have an RDD and you have another RDD, which is this one, and you have another RDD. So this is our target RDD, okay? And let's say that we are accessing this RDD in our program 5 times. Okay, we are calling an action, and upon calling this action, the whole series of transformations will be invoked for accessing this RDD, right? Now, what will happen if you are, let's say, you are accessing the 5 times. Let's say you are accessing this 50 times. Let's say you have some iterative algorithms where this X is needed 50 times. So that is unnecessary computation of this parent RDDs, right? To reach out to this X. So what we can do? We can cache it in memory, okay? And whenever we want to reference this RDD X, it will be directly fetched from memory rather than doing all of these computations again and again. All right. So this is the base of the cache and persist. So these are mainly what? Optimization techniques. Okay. Optimization techniques. So there is a difference between cache and persist. We will be having a look at that. But before, let's understand. So when you use an RDD, okay, and when you use a cache on RDD, so by default it will be you stored in memory only. So when you have a data frame or a data set, so when you do a cache, what will happen? Can you guess? So it will be stored in disk and memory. So what is mean by that? So that means so it will try to fit in memory. If it is not getting fit, then disk will be also used. So by default, when you use cache method on RDD, it is memory only. But when you use the cache method on data frame and dataset, it is disk and memory by default. So let's explore the storage level in Spark. So storage level is basically used with persist method, and it has several other values. So it is memory only, then you have memory only serialized, then you have memory only underscore 2, and there are several other storage level in Spark. What is mean by that is using persist method, you can control where do you want to cache your data. If you want to use or cache the data only in memory, you can use the storage level as memory only with persist. Now let's say that you want to use memory only, but also want to just store the RDDs as serialized form. You can use memory only serialized. All right. Then we have memory only 2, which says that okay, store everything in memory, but store 2 copies of each of the partitions. All right. So there are various other options like memory only serialized to memory and disk, memory and disk serialized, memory and disk to, memory and disk serialized to, disk only, and disk only to. I'm not going to write all of this. I will provide the link where you can go in brief and understand. It's very easy to use. Okay. So this is the major difference between cache and persist. Cache is a shorthand method of writing persist memory only for RDD. And if you are using persist memory and disk, this is for data frame and data set. So if you want to write a short form, let's say your requirement is only to store in memory and disk, for data frame and data sets, just use data frame dot cache. That's all. And if the requirement is storing the RDD only in memory, just use df dot cache or rdd dot cache. Sorry, you do not need to write this because these are anyway the default implementation of the cache. All right. Now we will see how does the cache or persist work. So let's say you have a data frame, and this data frame has one, two, three, four, five partitions on, let's say excuse me, we have five partitions on five servers. Okay, so when you use cache or persist, these partitions are cached into this server. Okay, each partition wherever it is located is cached into that particular server, either in memory or in disk. Okay, and we already explored what is storage level. So as per the storage level that we use with persist, they will be cached. Now let's say that you want to remove the cache from memory. So how will you do that? So you can use data frame method unpersist. Okay, this one, and this will, what it will do is it will try to remove all of the blocks from the memory or disk, whatever is cached. Okay, so whether you use cache or persist, this method will be used to remove all of the blocks from memory and disk. There is another variant of unpersist, which is df dot unpersist, and you have to pass a boolean argument, true or false. False is by default. So if you pass true, so true means it will block your program till all of the cache blocks are removed from memory or disk, whatever storage level you have used. So in a way, you can say that just unpersist is an async call, asynchronous call, and this is synchronous call. So it will wait until the all of the blocks are removed. All right. So this might be a tricky question in the interviews. So somebody can ask you, how will you remove all of the cache from memory and also block your program till all of the cache blocks are removed? So your answer should be df.unpersist, and then you have to pass true as an argument. All right. Let's have a look at the code how we can use cache in a Spark program. We are reading a list of files and creating a data frame, and then we are doing a group by on the column housing medianage, doing a sum operation on that, and just taking the one record. And we are doing this three times just to see how much time it takes. Then we will cache the data frame here, and after caching we'll again run the same operation just to see the difference between the time taken. After that we'll remove the cache and again run the load. So let's run the program. Okay, the program is finished. Let's have a look at the output. You can see there are three results for time taken. So we have ran that particular loop three times. The first time is much more than these two because Spark is taking time for other operations like loading file and creating the Spark cluster, all of those into account. So this particular time is much more than this and this. After caching, as you can see, this has greatly reduced the group by and sum operation. And again, if you remove the cache, again the time taken is increased. So this is just a 600 MB odd data set. Imagine if there is a 100 GB or a terabyte of file. So performing this cache operation obviously can increase the performance of your Spark application. All right, just go ahead and give it a try and let me know in the comments if you face any problem. I will try to answer those. Okay, let's wrap up by discussing some of the important points. So the first is LRU, which is least recently used. So why I mentioned is because Spark automatically monitors every persist and cache calls you make, and it checks usage on each node and drops persisted data if not used or using LRU. All right. You can obviously remove using the unpersist method, but Spark also itself handles that. Second one is the cache and persist obviously are one of the many optimization techniques in Spark. Then if you use the cache on RDD, by default it is stored on memory only. But if you use with data frame and dataset, it will be stored in memory and disk. You can check Spark UI. There is a storage tab where you can see all of the cache and persist info. So what you can see on the storage tab, it shows where the partition exists in memory or disk across the cluster. All right. Next is lazy operation. So the caching of a Spark data frame or dataset is a lazy operation, meaning a data frame will not be cached until you trigger an action. Last but not the least, unpersist, which we already discussed, is to remove the blocks from memory or disk or whatever you have used cache or persist with whatever storage level. All right, so these are the few important points about cache and persist. So that's it for now. If you like, please do subscribe so that you can get the latest updates. Thank you again and see you in the next video.